Okay, everyone. Very exciting lecture here because everyone's probably sweating. What am I going to do for this final paper? Probably fail. But no, you don't have to fail. This is America, right? We're going to do do well. Maybe not an A plus, but maybe an A. Or possibly an A plus. So let's take a look at what our choices are. So a lot of you are probably freaking out. You really don't have to be, because all you have to think is you only have to run a model that we haven't ran. But when you start looking at just even the data sets that we have done, and I'm going to go over two, you could literally do something on that. So in a couple of my classes, I've just done arrests, this data set, this massive data set from Great Britain. What a coincidence. We found the Brits were racist. So we did color and released. But look at the other variables you could look at, right? I changed that 1 to 0, so you would have to recode for it, but you could do age, you could do sex. Is there a gender bias in this? You could do employed, or you could do citizenship, yes or no. That would be an interesting one. Citizenship. Is there a prejudice against people who aren't quote unquote citizens? So checks as well, 0, 1, 4. I guess that's how many times that they've been arrested before. I'm not sure how that would work because I'm not familiar with that. But those other variables as the independent variables you can use on released, because we didn't do it. We only did color. So I think that would be a very interesting study. Right there, you could choose one of those. Then we did, let me switch over here to affairs. We did affairs where we used the LM function. The other one was GLM function, but it depends on the variable, right? So over here, let me go back to arrest. If you did do, say, for example, this seems to be all GLM because we're using a dependent variable of yes or no. So you'd have to follow the GLM model like we did in the Titanic and the arrest, right? But with affairs, you could use the LM, right, for other things, because the number of affairs, which is way over here, is, and there's a lot when it starts getting down here, is basically a numerical dependent variable, not yes or no. So you could do children, yes or no. You could do maybe even religion. That would be an ordinal factor, but I would accept it just with the irregular LM. I don't know about education. You could try if there's, because, you'd want to code. I would code probably, high school, university, postgraduate, something like that. So you only have 3. So you'd have 3 levels, but we'll talk about that before. I think the child, the year, married, you could definitely do, and the age. So something like that, because we just did gender and the number of affairs. You could do these other variables if you wish. That's another thing. And then we have other data sets I'm going to put up. Now, let's say you want to be a doctor. Like, see, I'm a doctor. And, people say, no, I'm a medical doctor, but the difference is negligible. So anyways, this is lung capacity. And see if people who smoke, yes or no, or male or female, have different lung capacities. You could do something like that. We have pre-sex. This is a small data set, but you could still do it, like divorced, by extramarital sex, yes or no. I mean, it's kind of funny because it's like, if extramarital sex, isn't that like when you cheat? So does that lead to divorce? But you could do something like that. Poison in mice, we didn't do. That's a sad thing, but they actually do that. Like, for example, if there's a poison, you want to basically test it, because maybe some people have been poisoned by something, like in water, what happened in Michigan, and you're a lawyer, and you use the poison in mice to say, see, this is a similar poison here, and these mice died at a faster time rate. So you would do like an AOV function with, the poison, the first, second, third. Is there a fourth? No, it's just 3 levels of poison. And does that increase the time of death is over here. And then you would do the Tukey test, etc. So that would be a pretty interesting study as well. That would be more the AOV, because we have these 3 different things. But you could do LM and see if there's difference. So you do 2 models. This one's pretty interesting. Plan behavior, attitude versus behavior. Some of these things are kind of I got them a while ago. But this is about behavioral functions. I'll have to go back to see exactly what it means. Cuckoos, let's say you're interested in what's a cuckoo? A bird. A cuckoo, a cuckoo. I don't know what it is. It's a bird, but there are different species, and you could run like an AOV function on this. Oh, a robin? I didn't know that. And see the different lengths of their beaks and the breadth of their beaks. Smoking band is interesting. You could do gender, male, female, smoker, yes or no. Is there any and what they think of a ban. That was a while back. I'm a little older than some of you people. I remember when they started banning smoking in like bars and all these places, people were going crazy. And so you could do run regression on this. Let's just say, are you a smoker? Yes or no. You have to change that to 0 or 1. No, 0, yes, 1. Gender, Hispanic, African American. Now that's interesting. I think they do all this research and then they'll just, differentiate between Hispanic, yes or no, or African American, yes or no. But the goal here is you can actually do other things. And then I had other ones. Let's take a look. Smoking, that seems the poison mouse affairs. Those are just a couple for the final paper you can do. And I'm going to also have a link to all these different R's data sets that you could look through and other things. So what would you do for it? Well, as we just did previously, this AOV, you would just copy and paste the results. And then if you do a post hoc test like Tukey, you would copy and paste those results, but you're not just copy and paste the results. I need a story with it. So you would have a title, right? Affairs, a clever title. Affairs, does having a child matter? Let's say, go back to this one. And then you run regression analysis on child, yes or no, and then the affairs, and that would be the LM function. You would first explain why, you're interested in this. This is a very interesting study. I'm interested in people having affairs. I want to study, say, family law, et cetera, et cetera. So then you do this, and then you explain in another paragraph, right? Paragraph 2, what it is. So this is linear regression. The independent variable is child, yes or no. It's a nominal binary one, and the dependent variable is the number of affairs, which is linear. And then, what you're doing, and then you would copy and paste the results. And then you would have to make a graph. You don't have to necessarily use ggplot, but that's what we've been using. And I'm going to go over that more so later, different plots. And then you could basically then interpret the results. So you'd have to have a number of things, a paragraph, why you chose this, why it's important, etc. 2, what you're going to do. Is it linear regression, ANOVA? Some of you haven't gotten to ANOVA yet. Don't worry. I'll be going over that next week. Or are you using the GLM function? What's the independent? What's the dependent variable? Then you copy and paste your results, do a graph, copy and paste that. That's easy. You can file a graph, make it a picture, and then put it in your paper. And then you would interpret the results. And that would be a conclusion. What do the results mean? So that's all you're doing. I mean, that could literally be 3 pages, 4 pages. It's nothing big, but you're able to do it. And then you're going to put it on your resume. I mean, I'm not going to check your resume. And your cover letter, say, hey, I was able to do heavy, modeling, with RR Studio. And I'm going to, towards the end of the class, show you this. So that's what you want to do. It's not that tough. You could do any of this stuff, poison in mice. I'm interested in studying medicine. I'm interested in studying, something, or maybe you're not interested. You're just, this is just an interesting little study. You care about animals. Why are they doing these tests on these animals? You get the picture, but you could do this. You could do plant behavior, cuckoos, smoking band, etc. So you could do anything like that. And then there'll even be more stuff. So I think I like the arrests. That's pretty interesting. Going back here, you're like, oh, I'm interested to see if citizens are more likely to be released from jail once they're captured for whatever reason. Yes or no, is there prejudice against citizens and non-citizens? It's very important to me, etc. And then you would say what you're going to do. Citizen is the independent variable, released is the dependent variable. We're using the GLM function because the dependent variable is yes or no binomial. And then you maybe want to write what you'll do, GLM, write the function and then copy and paste the results and then do a graph, which I'm going to show you for each one to make sure everybody knows what's going on. And then you're basically, going to interpret the results. And that's not that difficult. So if you think about it, it's kind of like a 3-4 page paper. If that, I mean, that literally could be 3 pages. It sounds like it could even be 2 pages. But I think that that's good enough because, think about it. You just have to run something that hasn't been run on in the class. So, but we use this data set, but you could still use a variable we didn't use, right? Like age, are they more prejudiced against young people than older people, etc. So that's in a nutshell what you're going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post these and you can take a look at the ones you want. And, some are already posted, a RAS, if I already used them, affairs, etc. But, take a look at these and then I'm going to post a link to other R data sets and I can find more. And you can find more data sets too. It doesn't have to be any of these data sets. You can maybe find one that you find interesting in another area that you're interested in, engineering, health, etc. But I think that that's very important. So this is all about the final exam. What you're going to do, you're just going to run regression. If you don't have it, some students were surprised the last time I, graded the papers and they were like, why'd I fail? It's like all they did was write like just a descriptive thing on something, like, Africa's a poor area or, Central America has this GDP. No, that's not what we're doing. We're doing real data science here. And you should be proud of yourself if you're able to do it, if you've been keeping up with the work and stuff like that. So that's what you're going to do in the paper, the final paper. So reach out to me with any questions. If you're in class, we'll talk about in class. If you're in online, you can do it on Community Forward. But this is a pretty solid paper that shouldn't even take that long, but it does give you an understanding of what some of the models we've been doing, and it's going to allow you to write this on your resume, cover letter, etc., be part of your employment or postgraduate portfolio. So take care, everyone. This is election night from here. Are we going to civil war? What's going on? We will see maybe tomorrow. Take care, everyone.